A bright streak shot from the jungle, and a rookie gunner shouted, "Missile!" only to realize it was a flare. The crew cursed, the plane lurched, but the commander's words cut through. Better safe than sorry. What happens when panic turns to trust? Watch this gripping tale of a young man's rise from a shaky start to a war hero, guided by a mentor's faith. Curious how it unfolds? Stick around and hit subscribe for more epic stories. The sky roared with the thunder of war, a churning gray expanse streaked with smoke, and the distant flash of artillery as the gunship carved its path above a jagged landscape of jungle and ruin. Kieran Thalor gripped the controls of his turret, his knuckles white beneath worn gloves, his dark hair plastered with sweat under a helmet that felt too tight against his skull. At 22, he was a rookie gunner, green, untested, his brown eyes darting across the chaos below, scanning for the flicker of enemy fire that could end them all in a heartbeat. The hum of the engines vibrated through his bones, the shouts of the crew crackling over the interphone, and the weight of his first real mission pressed against his chest like a stone he couldn't shift. Beside him, the crew moved with the tense rhythm of men who'd seen too much. Zephyr Kane, the wiry co-gunner with a quick grin and a scar across his jaw, manned the opposite turret, his voice a steady hum. "Eyes sharp, Thalor. Don't miss a damn thing." Above, the pilot, Torin Grayson, a grizzled man with a voice like gravel, wrestled the stick, his commands sharp. "Keep it tight, boys, low and fast." "Low," Kieran nodded, his breath shallow, the jungle blurring beneath them. A green sea hiding threats he'd been trained to spot but never faced. He was a mechanic's son from Fort Walton Beach, Florida, thrust into war's crucible, his hands steady with tools but trembling now with the gun's weight. The stakes a world away from the garage he'd left behind. The mission stretched taut, the air thick with the stench of fuel and fear, when a glint caught his eye. A bright streak rising fast from the canopy below, a blazing arc that seemed to arrow straight for the gunship's belly. His heart lurched, adrenaline surging as his training kicked in, his voice breaking over the interphone. "Missile! Missile!" The words tore from him, raw and urgent, and Torin reacted instantly, jerking the stick hard, the plane banking sharply to starboard. The crew lurched. Zephyr slammed against the hull with a curse, gear clattered, men tumbled from one side to the other, shouts of protest erupting as the gunship tilted, engines screaming against the strain. Kieran clung to his seat, his stomach twisting as the missile flared brighter, then faltered, drifting slow, its trajectory bending harmlessly away. His breath caught, realization crashing in. It wasn't a missile, but a flare, one of their own, dropped moments ago to light the night, its glow mistaken in his rookie panic. The plane leveled, Torin's growl crackling over the line. "What the hell, Thalor?" And Zephyr hauled himself up, his grin gone, his eyes flashing. "You trying to kill us, Greenie? That's our damn flare." The crew's grumbles rose. "Kid's jumpy. Nearly broke my damn neck." And Kieran shrank, his face burning, the gun a dead weight in his hands, shame coiling tight around his ribs. The flight back was a blur, the jungle fading to black, the gunship's engines a dull roar as Kieran stared at the turret, his mistake replaying. "Missile! Missile!" A cry that had shaken them all for nothing. He'd failed, exposed his greenness, endangered them with a rookie's fear. The landing jolted him, the crew spilling out onto the tarmac, Zephyr brushing past with a muttered, "Get it together, Thalor." And Kieran lingered, his boots heavy, dread pooling as he braced for the fallout. He'd seen gunners chewed out, sent packing. Would this be it? His first mission, his last? Torin Grayson approached, his shadow broad against the floodlights, his grizzled face unreadable, a commander who'd flown through hell and back. Kieran straightened, his throat dry, expecting the lash. "You're done, kid." But Torin stopped, his hand landing firm on Kieran's shoulder, his voice low, steady. "Sergeant Thalor," he said, his gravel tone cutting through the hum. "You keep calling 'em like you see 'em. Better safe than sorry." Got it? Kieran blinked, his breath hitching, the weight of those words sinking in. Support, not scorn, a lifeline tossed when he'd expected a cut. Torin's grip tightened, his faint grin a crack of light. Takes guts to shout first. Keep 'em sharp. He turned away, leaving Kieran rooted, the shame easing, a flicker of confidence sparking where doubt had burned. Back at the barracks, the crew sprawled, Zephyr nursing a bruised elbow, his grin creeping back. Hell of a ride, Greenie. Next time, check the flare. And the others softened, their grumbles fading to rough laughs. Kids got lungs least. Kieran sat apart, the gunship's roar still in his ears. Torin's better safe than sorry, a shield he clutched tight. He didn't sleep. The jungle's glint flashing, flare, not missile, but Torin's arm on his shoulder held him, a commander's faith stitching courage into his frayed nerves. At the base canteen, whispers spread. Celine Rhine, Zephyr's sister and a medic with sharp blue eyes, overheard. Thalor's first call. Nearly flipped us, but Torin backed him, and grinned, nudging Mohammed Basha, a doctor sipping coffee. Greenie's got grit. Torin sees it. Mohammed nodded. Takes one to steady one. Good man, that Grayson. The tale rippled. Zephyr to Celine, Celine to the medics. A rookie's stumble turned to a spark. Torin's support, a quiet legend. The war stretched on, the sky a canvas of fire and smoke, and Kieran flew again, his hands steadier, his eyes sharper, Torin's words a mantra. Call 'em like you see 'em. Building him into a gunner who'd rise, mission by mission, the flare a memory he'd carry, a lesson forged in a commander's trust. He didn't know that trust would echo. Years ticking, a call brewing, a stunning offer waiting, a kindness born in war's chaos, unbroken, alive. The war raged on beyond the horizon, a relentless storm of fire and shadow that painted the skies above the jungle in hues of ash and flame, its echoes reverberating through the gunship's hull as Kieran Thalor steadied his hands on the turret controls. At 22, he was no longer the green rookie who'd shouted, "Missile!" but at a flare. Torin Grayson's firm hand on his shoulder that first mission had planted a seed of confidence, and now, flight after flight, it grew, his brown eyes sharpening with each sweep of the canopy below, his voice steady over the interphone. The gunship sliced through the chaos, its engines a low growl, and Kieran scanned the darkness, the weight of his role a mantle he'd learned to bear, forged in the trust of a commander who'd seen something in him when he'd seen only failure. Beside him, Zephyr Kane worked the opposite turret, his wiry frame taut with focus, his scar-jawed grin flashing as he called, "Tight shot, Thalor! Keep 'em pinned!" The crew had softened since that shaky first flight. Zephyr's elbow healed, his grumbles turned to rough camaraderie. Kids got eyes now, damn good ones. And the others followed, their nods a quiet respect earned through missions where Kieran's calls saved them from real threats, not flares. Above, Torin Grayson piloted with the same gruff precision, his voice crackling. "Low pass, boys, give 'em hell!" And Kieran fired, the gun's recoil a rhythm he'd mastered, tracer rounds stitching the night. Torin's better safe than sorry, a mantra that steadied his aim. The missions blurred, jungle runs, night raids, the gunship a steel bird soaring through hell. And Kieran rose, his hands sure, his instincts honed, the flare a distant memory eclipsed by the kills he racked up, the lives he shielded. Off the tarmac, he'd sit with Zephyr in the barracks, sharing smokes, the co-gunners' tales of home, Fort Walton Beach, a sister named Celine, grounding him. "Torin's got your back," Zephyr said once, exhaling smoke, his grin sly. "Saw it that first day. Kept you steady, huh?" Kieran nodded, the flare's shame a scar he'd turned to strength. "Kept me here, owe him that." At the base canteen, Celine Rhine patched wounds and poured coffee, her sharp blue eyes catching whispers. "Thalor's topping the boards," Torin called it, and she grinned, nudging Mohammed Basha, a doctor with a quiet nod. "Kid's a gunner now. Torin's arm did it." Mohammed sipped, his voice low. Takes one to steady one. Grayson's a rock. The tale spread. Zephyr to Celine, Celine to the medics, Kieran's rise a spark in the chaos, Torin's support a quiet legend that grew with each flight. The crew swapped stories. Thalor's eyes missed nothing now. And Torin listened, his gruff, good man, a rare stamp, his faith a fire that fueled Kieran's climb. Beyond the base, the war's shadow stretched to Fort Walton Beach, where Kieran's mother, Mara Thalor, tended a small garage, her hands rough from years of oil and grit, her dark hair graying as she waited for letters. She'd raised him alone, a mechanic's widow, teaching him wrenches before words, and now his scribbled notes, doing good, Ma, flying high, lit her quiet nights. She'd share them at Millie's cafe, the town's heartbeat, her voice soft. Kieran's a gunner. Top one, they say. And Millie, her rasp warm, nodded. Tough kid, good stock. Torin's name slipped in. Commanders got him steady. And the regulars, old mechanics and vets, toasted. Grayson, damn fine man. Kieran didn't know the ripples, his letters home, the whispers at Millie's, only the gunship, the jungle, Torin's growl. Call 'em like you see 'em. And the crew's trust, a bond forged in fire. He flew, fought, rose, top gunner, his name scrawled on boards, his hands a blur of skill. And Torin watched, his faint grin a constant, his arm a memory Kieran carried through the smoke. Off duty, he'd sit alone, the flare's glow a lesson, better safe, and sketch the gunship on scraps, Zephyr peering over. Damn, Thalor, artist too? His laugh a balm, the war a forge, Torin's faith the hammer shaping him. The mission stretched on, the sky a relentless battlefield, and Kieran's tally climbed, enemies downed, crew saved, his voice a beacon over the interphone. Target left, fire! Zephyr matched him, their turrets a duet, Torin's good shot boys, a rare praise that lit Kieran's chest. He'd stumble off the tarmac, sweat-soaked, hands steady now, and Torin would nod. Keep 'em sharp, Thalor. The same gruff trust, a rock he leaned on when the war's weight pressed too hard. The flare faded, a rookie's stumble buried under a gunner's grit, but Torin's better safe than sorry stayed, a creed he'd live by, a spark he'd carry home. At the base, Celine stitched a pilot's arm. Thalor's a damn wall now, Torin knew, and Mohammed grinned. Steady hand, Grayson's mark. The canteen hummed. Top gunner, kid's a legend. And Kieran heard, his ears burning, Torin's arm a ghost on his shoulder, a debt he'd never name. He didn't know Mara framed his letters, or that Millie's regulars raised glasses, to Thalor, tough as his ma. Only the gunship, the fire, the trust that kept him steady, mission by mission. The war rolled on, a beast unbroken, and Kieran flew, his hands a weapon, his eyes a shield, Torin's faith a light in the dark. He didn't see the years ahead, the jungle fading, the gunship grounded, a call waiting, or the offer brewing, a commander's voice ready to echo back, a kindness forged in war's crucible, a circle yet to close, unbroken, alive. The sun dipped low over Fort Walton Beach, Florida, painting the quiet streets in a golden glow, the air heavy with the scent of salt and pine as a gentle breeze stirred the palms outside Thalor's garage. Kieran Thalor leaned against the workbench, his dark hair streaked with gray at the temples, his brown eyes calm and steady as he wiped oil from his hands. The familiar clatter of tools a soothing rhythm in the life he'd carved out. Now in his late 30s, he was a man shaped by war, a top gunner once, his hands still steady from years at the turret, now turning wrenches in the shop his mother, Mara, had passed down. The jungle's roar had faded to memory, the gunship a ghost, but the echo of Torin Grayson's voice, better safe than sorry, remained, a guiding star through the battles he'd fought and the peace he'd earned. The garage was his sanctuary, a squat brick building on the town's edge, its walls lined with tools, a faded photo of the gunship crew pinned above the desk. Torin's grizzled grin, Zephyr Kine's scar-jawed smirk, Kieran's young face, eyes wide but growing sure. Mara bustled in the office, her gray hair tied back, her hands rough as she tallied receipts. "Busy day, Kieran, folks trust you." And he smiled, her pride a quiet anchor. Beyond the bay doors the town hummed. Millie's cafe buzzed with regulars, their voices a chorus of "Thalor's the best, fixes anything." And Kieran worked, his hands a blur, the war a scar he'd turned to strength. The phone rang, its sharp trill slicing through the clank of metal, and Mara answered, her voice softening. "Kieran, it's for you. Some commander, sounds serious." He frowned, wiping his hands on a rag, and took the receiver, his pulse quickening. Commanders didn't call mechanics, not years after the guns fell silent. "Thalor here," he said, his tone steady, and a gravel voice crackled through, rough but warm, a ghost from the past. "Sergeant Thalor, Torin Grayson. Been a while, huh?" Kieran's breath caught, the receiver trembling in his grip. Torin's "better safe than sorry" flashing. Flare-lit jungle, a hand on his shoulder, a trust that had shaped him. "Commander Torin? God, yeah, it's been a while," he managed, his voice thick, the garage fading as memory surged. "How'd you find me?" Torin chuckled, the sound a lifeline across the years. "Never lost you, kid. Kept tabs. Heard you're a mechanic now. Top gunner turned top wrench. Fort Walton's proud, huh?" Kieran grinned, leaning against the desk, Mara's eyes widening as she listened. "That Grayson?" And he nodded, the spark igniting. "Yeah, garage keeps me steady," Kieran said, his throat tight. "Owe you for that, Torin. That first mission, the flare, you kept me in it, made me what I am." Torin's voice softened. "Saw it in you. Guts to call it, heart to learn. Better safe than sorry, right? Paid off. Top gunner, steady hand." A pause, then. "Got an offer, Thalor. Running a training program now, gunners for the next fight. Need the best. Need you. Teach 'em, steady 'em, pay it back. What do you say?" Kieran froze, the words a jolt. Teach, train, steady others as Torin had steadied him, a circle closing across the years. His hands shook, the wrench forgotten, Mara's gasp soft. "Kieran?" And he swallowed, Torin's trust a fire rekindled. "Me? Train 'em? Torin, I'm no commander," he said, but Torin cut in. "Don't need rank. Need grit. Eyes like yours. Say yes, Thalor, keep 'em safe." Boom. The line hummed, Kieran's heart pounding, the gunship's roar a whisper. "Call 'em like you see 'em." And he nodded, his voice firm. "Yes, hell yes. For you, for them. I'm in." Torin laughed. "Good man. Knew you'd say that. Details coming. Steady as ever, huh?" And the call ended. Kieran staring at the receiver, the offer a bridge from past to future. Torin's faith a gift unbroken. He told Mara, "Training gunners, Torin's call," and her eyes glistened. "Proud of you. Always knew." At Millie's, he shared it. "Grayson's pulling me back. Teaching." And the regulars cheered. "Thalor's a legend? Damn fine." The tale spread. Zephyr Kane, back from the war, grinned over coffee. "Knew you'd rise," Torin's spark, and Celine Rhine patched a vet, her smile wide. "Thalor's steady, Grayson's legacy." The ripple grew. Leora, his wife, gathered the community at the garage, her blue eyes bright as she organized a gathering to honor veterans, her hands arranging chairs and lanterns. "For Torin's crew. For you." Her voice a quiet force. Finnick, now 12, sat with local kids under the palms, his green eyes alive as he shared tales of courage. "My dad's commander kept him steady, taught him to fight." His words a gift, steadying the next generation. Mohammed Basha nodded. "Kindness circles, good man." And Millie fed a soldier. "Thalor's way. Keeps us steady." The town glowed. Kieran's hands a bridge. Torin's trust a light. War's lessons alive in peace. At the garage, Kieran hung the gunship photo higher, the offer a new dawn. Years after a flare, a commander called, a stunning gift, a kindness unbroken, alive.